So we're about to begin the program, so if everybody can please make their way inside the gymnasium. We want to be on time so that we can have a chance to enjoy today, and I would like to, with that said, bring up the pastor to do the blessing. Yes, our Director of Operations at Man Up Inc., Sister Nash Pride.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can we ask everybody, we want to pray before we begin our festivities, if we can have everyone's attention. And we're going to ask if you would just bow your head while we open up the program in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you on this day, God, that you have allowed us, God, to walk into this festive occasion, oh God. God, we thank you that we have not forgotten, and that we as a family, as a community, remember our young brother, Prince Joshua Avitto. And God, we ask that the family continue to be encouraged and know that we are a village and that we support each other. God, we thank you for allowing our community to enlarge. And God, we believe that the best is yet to come. God, we thank you for this day. God, we thank you for your people. God, we thank you for community. And we thank you for this center. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And right now we want to bring up to the podium the founder and executive director of Man Up Inc., Andre T. Mitchell. Come on, let's greet him.
Thank you. In our tradition at Man Up Incorporated, we say Hotep. And this is a Swahili greeting that we, at our inception of an organization, began now almost 15 years ago, in honor, at that time, of another fallen angel by the name of Deshaun Hill. And Hotep is just a simple way to connect everybody in the room. It's not a religious term or anything that divides us. It's something that unites us. So I'll say it again, and hopefully we'll get a better resound. Hotep! Thank you. That's exactly how it should sound. I am the founder and executive director of a great not-for-profit organization in East New York called Man Up Incorporated. And I am very privileged and honored to have had an intricate role and part in this institution that we are standing within today. And I wanted to give some brief historical context of this building and this surrounding area so that folks can understand from which this came and how all of this came about, just to show you a miracle in the makings. Here in East New York, this is the furthest neighborhood in the borough of Brooklyn. The next community or borough 5 minutes from here is Queens. So us as a community have lived out in this part of the borough and the city for oh so long. It's a neighborhood and a community that has been unfortunately stereotyped and stigmatized over the years for all the negative reasons that you can think of. And it's not an insult to the people who live here, it's an insult because the resources that we have as a city and a state didn't make its way this far as much as it should, and as a result of those neglects, thus produced the things that people think of when they hear of East New York, at least in the past. So many of us here, East New Yorkers and Brownsvillians, we recall the day and times of when it was really bad. We lived through some very tough times. We struggled through all of those things that you could never even imagine. We lost a lot of souls, a lot of lives, a lot of our family members have been victimized out here in this neighborhood. But it has always been the people's resilience to overcome those obstacles. In this neck of the woods where you stand, there has always been a cry from the community for a center of this type to be built so that our kids can have a safe place to go and play. And in that, when we became the leadership of this neighborhood, we heard it loud and clear because our elected officials who represent us are the voices of the people who live out here. And oftentimes when you hear our elected officials sound off, folks think that's their opinion of what they think. But in fact, there are our voices in the various cities, states, and federal government halls. They speak for us. And so they only are as passionate about their position because they know that they represent a great people. So there has always been a call for a center of this type in this community. And it was in 2010 when the city council member at that time, Charles Barron, who was an effective council member, was able to secure capital dollars to build a center in his district of East New York. 2010, those dollars was set aside. It was partnered. It was supposed to be a partnership with NYCHA. They were supposed to match those dollars, and then the center was going to go up in Linden Houses, which is right across the street. Well, we all know of NYCHA and all of its pitfalls, and one of the things that they did not recommit was for their portion of the dollars. So they reneged. And those dollars were parked there for a number of years. But it was always still the goal of the leadership to make sure a community center was built. And so when the plans came before us for the development of an affordable housing complex on an underutilized parking lot in the middle of Linden Houses and Boulevard Houses, we saw this as an opportunity to seize the opportunity because the developer had a history of building community centers in other parts of the city. It was Councilmember Barron at that time who convinced the developer to take money that he had already had parked at NYCHA and use it to construct a community center as part of his design. It was Councilmember Barron who played an intricate role in the design of this community center. Every single facet of a design, he played a role with the developer at that time, down to the size of gymnasium that we sitting in right now. He always called for a college-regulated size basketball court. He wanted a center that the community can use for all the different types of activities that you're about to see. So the design for this type of building was way back when we first was proposed to build something in it, and that negotiations was in our favor. Unfortunately, when the plans were secured to build a community center, something tragic happened in East New York. It was approximately 4 years ago, on a summer day here in this neighborhood, where we sit, it was still a parking lot and a construction site slated to begin. We heard of the tragedy that happened across the street in Boulevard Houses where two of our young angels were attacked, Prince Joshua Avitto and Michaela Capers. And they were attacked so brutally that unfortunately it took the life of Prince Joshua and almost took the life of 7-year-old Michaela. Whenever these type of tragedies happen, if you know us in East New York, we respond to these type of emergencies. We stopped everything that we're doing and we made our way. Myself, the council member, the assembly woman, and a number of other people from the community was at that hospital at Brookdale. And I recall us staring down at Prince Joshua as his family to my right consoled him in a white blanket. Me and Charles wanted to go check on the little girl. We went down a couple of stores, booths down to check out the Michaela, and we witnessed Michaela as she did not even realize that she had been injured. She was stabbed over 16 times. From that moment on, we made a commitment that we was going to do something outstanding for this family, for these young victims, for this neighborhood and this community. It wasn't also long. City and had a walkthrough where the mayor came by as well and walked throughout the boulevard houses with the elected officials and promises of making sure that the boulevard houses was going to be a very safe place. The history is very important because we cannot allow for people to erase our history. Before there was a nail in the ground, all of these things were underway. We subsequently, as a community board and as a leadership, we co-named the street of Schenck Avenue to Prince Joshua Avitto Way. So respectfully, we're not on Schenck anymore. We don't even know who Schenck was. We can almost imagine. But we sit at 876 Prince Joshua Way. That's the official address of this building. And the leadership was responsible. We thought even further, Mayor. We thought about the building that was going to be built. And we thought it would be befitting that we, in honor of Prince, we talked to the mother, we talked to the family, and we asked if that was okay if we, when this building is built, would name this building after that young prince. And she said yes. There wasn't any buildings. You couldn't see it at first. And then the developers and them brought the building out of the ground. And I want to commit to, I said yesterday, to one of my good friends, if he's not here, who was one of the project managers on the site, who led the effort with the construction at first for Galaxy. And then this building was built. We knew that it was going to take time, and it was an ask us if we, Man Up Inc., could withhold the capacity to run this building. At that time, we were honest about our size, but we didn't want to stand in the way of such a beautiful thing, and as a result of such, we welcomed the developer's recommendation to bring in a not-for-profit with size that would complement the existing nonprofits of this area and community. And then we learned it was Good Shepherd Services, which was his choice. So together, Good Shepherds and Man Up Inc. agreed to cooperate this building and share in the resources. And I'm very, very happy to learn that we are now at that point. So I just wanted to give some historical context. Today marks history, a long time history, where we want to forever, always remember Prince Joshua Avitto, forever, for eternity. With that said, I want to just make some acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge members of Prince Joshua family. They are present. Can we clap it up for the family of Prince Joshua Avitto? Their great sacrifice now becomes something for all of us to enjoy in the future. Thank you, family. I also want to acknowledge and I want to respect the fact that we are present with the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, The Brooklyn DA is here personally, and we want to publicly thank his office for their prosecution of the perpetrator, Eric Gonzalez. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate your office and its assistant under the prosecution. The prosecutor, ADA, that actually had the case and won that verdict, is present. That's ADA O'Connor. Can we please recognize the district ADA who prosecuted the case? And if you have not heard, there was a guilty verdict in almost less than 24 hours. And I want to congratulate all of the witnesses that stood up and came out and testified. Because without your testimony, it could not have been as simple. And let's also recognize the courageous bravery. She's not present. Michaela Capers. Because Michaela and her family's commitment is the reason why that conviction went the way it did. She is now 11 years old. And she went on that stand and she said exactly what she remembered happened in that elevator. And there was questions on whether or not was the perpetrator the perpetrator. When that little girl who's now 11, she is so articulate. You guys got to meet her. She is so bright. That's the type of life that could have got snuffed out. But when she testified, she was on point. She knew exactly what she was talking about. She remembered everything like she should. And we want to commend her for her bravery and looking at the perpetrator in the eyes and pointing them out in court. Let's clap it up again for Michaela. I do want to also acknowledge another city council member that is present. I see him to my left. Thank you for coming. Council member Jamani Williams is also present. I want to also recognize our partners in the Cure Violence work that we do out of the Office to Prevent Gun Violence, the Executive Director and his staff of the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, Eric Cumberbatch, and Haley, our Brooklyn Director. Thank you for all of your assistance, and all of the different city agencies that are here represented, the commissioners that are present, and all of the staff of all of our organizations. We want to recognize you. My community board, the district manager of our community board, Sister Melinda Perkins, and her team of others and members of the elected bodies team that is present from City Council members Inez Barron and Assembly Member Barron's office. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to pass the mic and allow for the others to speak so that we can hear from the family ultimately. So with that, I would like to call up Assembly Member Charles Barron.
Thank you very much. Give a big hand clap to Andre T. Mitchell. He is the spirit of what's going on in this building. Not too many communities can say that a prince walked amongst us. A prince walked amongst us. And because this prince walked amongst us, and yes, it was a tragedy, but today we turn it into a triumph. Prince Joshua has brought us all together. There's some people in here I don't like, but because of the prince, I'm going to hang with him, Erica. Because of the prince bringing us all together. This is a very, very important time. There's a time for us to unite and rise above whatever personal politics or whatever we have. There's a time to rising to another level. And that's what Prince Joshua brought to our community. So what I would like for us to do, and you're going to hear from her a little later, I want Erica to come up here for a moment. Give her a big hand clap. This sister She was not only concerned about her son, but every time something happened in our community that had nothing to do with her, she was there. She was there for other people, comforting other people. So I want you all to join me, and we got to say this loud enough for Prince Joshua to hear us. Grab somebody's hand, and I want you to say, hook up, snatch somebody's hand and hold them up in the air. Hold your hands up in the air. And say with us, long live, long live, long live, long live. Prince Joshua, Prince Joshua, Prince Joshua. Long live, long live, long live. Prince Joshua. His spirit lives. It will never die. East New York is on the rise. Long live Prince Joshua. Give yourselves a big hand clap. You're going to hear from Erica a little later in the program, but I wanted us to at least capture that spirit. This is also a great moment for East New York as a community because we are on the rise. A lot of people now want to move into East New York. Years ago, they were running to get out of East New York. But now that the housing is a little more affordable and we have a center like this and some other things coming out, the mall and the jobs, people are looking at East New York because we still have land to be developed. But we want to make sure they give that land to the community and not just to private developers. We need to have some of our own land. You know, we make no apologies. We are black radicals. We believe in root change, not just symptomatic change. We ain't looking to survive this racist capitalist system. We're looking to change it from the root, from the root. So when we say we have this center and we're proud of us, we're proud of the center, we're proud of the jobs, we're proud of whatever we do with healthcare, but the bottom line, this center is being built pending the revolution because we are going to make some radical changes in this system so that we can all live abundantly off of what we build. And this is the richest country in the world, the richest state in the world. So we are saying to the mayor and we're saying to the governor, no more shelters, no more jails. We'll take some youth centers and jobs and economic development. No more shelters, no more jails. We'll take youth centers, jobs, and economic development. No more shelters, no more jails, no more jails. We need some jobs and youth centers so we can develop the minds of our young people. I'm going to say this and take my seat. That's what the preachers say before they speak for another half an hour. But I'm going to say this and take my seat. You know, the governor gave me a call. I was shocked. Me and the governor, you know, we have fun publicly. I interrupt him when he makes his major speeches and all of that because I'm not going to sit back and let him have a $168 billion budget and don't bring anything to the hood. We ain't having that. So the mayor called me up, but the governor called me up, and he said, you know, Charles, I want to bring, Assemblyman, I want to bring a state park to East New York. He wants to bring a state park to East New York. You know out there where the Belt Parkway is, and they have that land out there, and the feds own it. Well, the state rented it from the feds, and he wanted me to stand with him at a press conference to announce that a state park is coming into East New York. I said, Governor, bring the park, but I won't be at the press conference because we're going to keep your feet to the fire no matter how much we get these kinds of things. There are bigger issues. Every one of our communities should have a center like this. Every one of our communities. So with that, I want to thank all of you for coming out. Remember, our struggle continues. I want to acknowledge my two sons, Jelani and Jawanza. Those are my two sons. I want to acknowledge my chief of staff, Ms. Viola Plummer, who works hard in our office. Ms. Viola Plummer, Juan Bravo, and where's Mr. Faulkner? Where's Mr. Faulkner? Where? Mr. Melvin Faulkner. He helped over 100 families out of foreclosure. Mr. Melvin Faulkner. Give him a big hand clap. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn this over to the love of my life, my African queen, Council Member Inez Barron.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to say I first give honor to God, who's the head of my life, and to whom I look each and every day to protect me, direct me, correct me, and favor me. And then I want to say to Erica, many of us did not know Prince Joshua personally. We had this beautiful photo of him in the program, so that gives us an idea of what he looked like physically. But when we look at you, we look at those people who knew him, and when we hear how they talk about him and his energy and his spirit and the relationship that he had with Michaela and how everybody in the community who knew him loved him. And then when we look at this physical building, we certainly know that, yes, he will always live on. And we look at the street naming, he will always live on. And what we have done is taken a tragedy, as has been said, and turned it into a reality of what we can do when we come together, when we have the resources together that fund an idea that was offered almost 2 decades ago when it was initially planned. It wasn't planned for here, it was a plan for another location, but still we have this opportunity to turn that into this beautiful center. And you're in the gym, so you see how beautiful the gym is. You see the scoreboard and the basketball court, and they go back up. They showed us how it goes back up so they can have a regulation game. And there's going to be a portable stage that will be a part of this facility, and seating that we will be able to have performances here so that all of our community members will be able to have an opportunity to enjoy it. You're going to see a sound room upstairs, a video room upstairs, an arts and crafts room, and so many other spaces. So what we're saying is that here at the Prince Joshua Avitto Community Center, this is a model for what we can have across the city in all of our communities where we are strapped for an opportunity for our children to be able to have a safe place to go, to be able to engage in organized activities, to have supervision, and for adults and seniors to also go. So this is the result of a collective work. So many of the people are involved are, yes, here, but so many others are not able to be here because of the timing, but they send their good wishes. And I want to acknowledge my staff. I want my staff to please stand. My Chief of Staff, Joy Simmons, Legislative Director, Indigo Simmons, Ms. Cook, and Ms. Fisher, and Omawali Clay in the back. So that's my staff, and Amadi. Where's Amadi? Amadi is here as well. That's my staff, thank you. And they're the ones that do the hard work so that these things become a reality. So we've worked diligently, and you know, all of this takes money. So when the assembly member was there, he put the first pot of money in, and AT laid that out, so we have all that information. But then we needed a little bit more and a little bit more, and then we needed all of that to happen. And it gives me great pleasure at this time to call forth my colleague in government, the mayor of this great city, to give him the opportunity to share his remarks with you regarding this grand opening. Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. This is a very moving day. This is a very moving day for a lot of reasons. I'm just going to talk for a moment about that because I think we're all feeling a lot today, and we're feeling a lot of solidarity with this good family today. But I want to just reflect on how many people came together to make this happen. And they say success has many mothers and fathers. And they say it takes a village. Here is a great example of a lot of people stepping up to honor this family, to honor this community, to do something that would make a change, to do something for the hundreds and thousands of young children today and in the future, for the Prince Joshuas we will get to know, the young people who will be here and will be our future, who will experience this. This will be the environment they learn and grow in, that they will enjoy, they will feel empowered by. So in terms of this success, Councilmember Inez Barron deserves some very special credit. I want to tell you exactly what happened from my perspective. Councilmember Barron called me. Councilmember Barron saw me at a meeting, pulled me aside. Then she called me again. Then she called me again. Then she pulled me aside again. Then she reminded me. Then she exhorted me. I could not go anywhere in Brooklyn without finding Councilmember Barron around the corner. And she said three beautiful and powerful words every time: Prince Joshua Avitto. So, council member, we, without saying as much, we formed a pact because we both knew we had to get there. But we'd only be here, the only reason we ultimately got here, despite all that history that you heard from AT that had to be overcome, was because of the sheer persistence of Councilmember Inez Barron. Thank you. To my colleague, a long-standing Assembly Member Charles Barron, I just want to say, as you were speaking, you reminded me of a phrase from my upbringing. You and I both remember with some fondness the 60s and the 70s and the culture and the movements of the time. So I want to say about the Assembly Member, what you see is what you get. And that's a compliment. I want to thank the leaders who are here because they care about this and because they have each contributed in their own way to this progress. Of course, our DA, Eric Gonzalez, thank you. And thank you for what you have done for this family and your whole team. Councilmember Jamani Williams, is he still here? I saw him over there. Councilmember, thank you for your support. I want to thank people in city government for whom this is also a labor of love, and making this victorious, making this center all it could be is a labor of love. I want to thank Eric Cumberbatch from my office, who has done so much to support this community. I want to thank the new general manager of the Housing Authority, Vito Mostacciolo, who is committed to this center. Thank you, Vito. And then to have involved in this beautiful center two organizations that are literally two of the best in New York City. Man Up is a difference maker for this community. And everybody who's a part of Man Up, I want to commend you. It is our honor. The City of New York supports, not just with words, with resources, the work of Man Up, because it makes a huge difference and saves lives. And I commend everyone who's part of Man Up, but I want to give a special thank you to Andre T. Mitchell for your leadership, which has been outstanding. And the other great organization, and I've watched their work on behalf of children for decades, is Good Shepherd Services. Don't mess around with Sister Paulette LaMonaco, because if you stand in her way, she will contact God directly. So, Sister, thank you. Lillian Barrios Paoli, our former deputy mayor, now on the board of Good Shepherd, thank you for your great work as well. We are feeling celebration of something good. But every one of us can take ourselves back 4 years ago. Every one of us can remember what we felt when we heard what happened to Prince Joshua Avitto. There are some moments in this city that everybody feels. There's 8.6 million of us. It's hard to imagine everybody feeling something at once, but there are moments sometimes we all feel together. And the notion that such a good and sweet young man could be taken from us gripped all of us together in pain, in shock. This was a moment when this city was united, and we all felt that Prince Joshua was our child too. And we all felt an obligation to support this family. And we saw what an extraordinary family it was. And Erica, your strength is absolutely amazing. I want to thank you. Every time I saw you, I could feel there was such deep pain, but there was resolve for your whole family. But also, you knew that what you were doing gave hope to everyone, because you were so strong, so amazing in a moment of pain. I gotta say, you have my ultimate admiration, Erica. Can I also say, on behalf of everyone in this city, thank God that Michaela Capers survived. Thank God we will all get to see what that young woman will become and all she will contribute to this society. And thank God she was part of bringing justice for Prince Joshua Avitto. And to PJ's father, Nicholas, to his stepfather, Joseph, to his brother, Nicholas, to the whole family, we remain by your side and committed to supporting this family. And I have to say, I'm standing here in awe of the notion that P.J. Avitto's name will mean something to generation after generation. Think about this. Think about what this community achieved. This community, so strong, so wronged for so many decades, and yet so strong. So many sought to divide, and yet so unified. This community created something that now will speak of love and hope, because hundreds and then thousands of young people will come through these doors and will be elevated, will be strengthened. They will see that name and it will give them hope. When they say to a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, I'm going to the P.J. Avitto Center, everyone will feel that is a step in the right direction for that young person. So out of the pain and out of the tragedy, something that will actually uplift hundreds and ultimately thousands. This is also a tribute to all that is good and strong about East New York. And I want to just conclude on that point. A community that's been through so much. But there is a particular kind of honor and resiliency that I see in this community. I've seen it for a long time. It is no surprise to me that an organization as extraordinary as Man Up grew here in this community. And even if it is not celebrated, this community has never been celebrated the way it deserves, and its organizations and its institutions have never been given their due. But you know what? People here understood, people here believed, and the spirit of this community is visible right here in this beautiful place today. Council member, that's something we call self-determination, and it's a very good thing. I commend everyone, and Erica, we are with you, we love you, and God bless you.
So programs are subject to change. So there's a slight little change in our program, but we have to respect our young. I love you more. Our young people and the talents and the gifts that they have. If I can ask everyone to please stand for the Black National Anthem by the Waverly Sound Steel Pans of East New York. Let's give it up for our young people as they play a selection. Jerry, okay? The Waverly Sound Steel Pans of East New York. Let's give it up for them, everyone. Thank you so much, Jackson and Care, and thank all of their parents as well, and all of you young people for lending to our program. We are going to now hear from the actual developer. Okay, is he okay? Is he okay? Talk about a grand entrance. The developer from the Kretschmer Companies, Jerry Kretschmer, everybody. That was something unrehearsed. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good, here you go. Here you go, sir.
So I know how to enter a space. You know, you blow up a balloon. Everybody in this room is thrilled, but nobody is as thrilled as I am. I'm the developer. This project started out in 2006. It's 2018. We've worked on it for all of that time to bring it from an idea that NYCHA would contribute land and that we would get to build apartments and a community facility on that land. The first thing I want to tell you is that every word A.T. told you about how complicated and difficult it was to get to this place is totally and truly correct. He said it like it was, and he said it like it is. And you know what? all the meetings we attended here, all the housing councils that we met with. And I'm going to tell you one other thing that you really have to understand. Inez called the mayor, but she summoned me. Charles called the mayor, talked to the governor, but he summoned me. And when he summoned me, I came. And we sat in the office, and we talked about this program, and we talked about how it was going to get done. And I have to tell you that from my point of view, all of the public officials, all of the people who worked at HPD in the city and who work at HDC did their job, but they couldn't have done anything if the council member and the assembly member hadn't said to me, you better do this. And I said, we will do this, and we did do this. I'm a child of the city. I grew up started my life in Brooklyn, but grew up in the Bronx. But my wife grew up on Ocean Avenue, Ocean Parkway, and Parkville. And we know, and my grandparents lived in Sheepshead Bay. So this is a return to all the things that I hold dear. I hold dear the fact that kids play basketball. I hold dear the fact that poor people need assistance. I hold dear the fact that older people need help. And all of those things will happen in this place. I almost forgot to do something. I want to thank the people who work with me to get this done. The architects, who were Datner Architects, the contractor, who was Galaxy, the developers, all of those people. And it wasn't easy, and we had a lot of arguments. The thing that finally brought it all together was naming the center after Prince Joshua. I can tell you that with total clarity. We were working very hard. We were trying to get it done, but the goal was always a little bit out there. This stopped us, something else happened. And then when the community came back and said, this is what we want to do, and this is how we're going to handle this, and this is how we're going to create this great facility, we said, that is so wonderful. So I leave you with the thought that this is what it is, Prince Joshua's Center. You are who you are, and I wanted you to know that all of you are for whom this was done, and I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoy every part of this facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it, okay? Give me a kiss. Okay. Moving the program right along, as mentioned, we have, via Jerry Kretschmer's recommendation and our community's confirmation, we confirmed when he introduced this new not-for-profit to East New York, not that they're new, but in East New York, they were new at that time. And we welcomed them in, and we asked them to assist us in doing what we need to do to get this place up and running, and they accepted that, and we are appreciative of it. The Executive Director of Good Shepherd Services, Sister Paulette. I don't want to say her last name and get it wrong.
So good morning, everyone. By now it must be almost afternoon because we've had a lot of speeches, wonderful speeches. So we're very excited to be here with the family of Prince Joshua Avitto. We're very happy. We also are very thrilled that the mayor could be here with us today. City Councilwoman Inez Barron, City Assemblyman Charles Barron, the Brooklyn DA's office, our partner Man Up, Mr. Kretschmer, and all of our wonderful partners here in the community. A particular shout out to our staff and for all those who have made this possible. Thank you. To the family of Prince Joshua Avitto, I can only hope that this community center, which stands in his name and his memory, will bring you some measure of comfort for the incredible loss that you have gone through. We want it to be a real legacy to his life, and I'm sure it will be, because countless numbers of young people and families will remember him because of the naming. We wouldn't be here today without the vision, leadership, and advocacy of Charles and Inez Barron. You have championed this community center, as we've heard today, and as we've experienced for over a decade, and we're very grateful for that. You're tireless advocates, as the mayor has pointed out, and you've moved heaven and earth to make this happen, and finally it has. So I and everybody at Good Shepherd Services looks forward to working with this community, to look at working in partnership with A.T. Mitchell and the staff of Man Up. We want to fill this center with activities and programming that young people and families will really enjoy. Not only do we have this beautiful college-sized gym, and we're going to be offering programs here, including those for young people who are out of work and out of school, but we also have the largest single-stop program here. We'll have after-school activities. We'll have a whole range of programs that will be provided by Man Up and Good Shepherd Services. So I just want to say thank you for being here today, and I look forward to many happy times here in the center for all of the young people and families from the East New York community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Paulette. I now would like to acknowledge again the family members of Prince Joshua. I would ask that we can please, beside every strong woman and every strong is a strong man, and the father who's not present right now, or the uncle, Nicholas Avitto and Scott Avitto. Can we clap it up for them as well? Because if you remember, that father walked little Prince to school practically every morning. And he's an excellent example of what a father is, taking care of his little boy. And I just wanted to make sure that the uncle and the father and the other uncles and the other aunts and cousins and all of the members of the family understand that we appreciate you. I also want to recognize one member of their family who's present, who from the day that when we met, also at the hospital, when the tragedy went down, I recognized this tall fella. Didn't know exactly who he was at the time, but I can tell he was somebody. He happens to be Prince Joshua Avitto's first cousin. Taj Gibson from the Minnesota Timberwolves is also present. Thank you so much, brother. And at this center, we've done something very special, something different. And I'll show it to him and to you all in a very short second. We need to hear from the family. So let's welcome Mother Erica up to the podium so that we can hear from her. She wants a family.
I need my family up here, please. You all here? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. All right. I am so honored today for this ribbon cutting opening, grand opening for the memory of my prince, AKA PJ, and for all who know him in the neighborhood. He was a sweet little boy. May he rest in peace. But I know today he's shining down on us. He's already been here because he broke those balloons. But I'm so overwhelmed right now. I have a lot of feelings, but I really appreciate everybody. Construction workers, the Barons, Good Shepherd, Man Up, and everybody else who was involved in this beautiful memory of my son. I love you. And I will always be in and out of this center, as you already know. But the main thing is, I just want to say this to the Capers family and to my little girl, Michaela Capers. You will always be a big part of my heart, a big part of my life. Because of you, we got justice. Because of you, a lot of things have changed. And because of the life that Prince lost, a lot of new things are coming about. I would like to thank D.A. O'Connor and his staff for making justice happen. And I just want to say, may God bless you all. And I really appreciate what you've done here in honor of Prince. And I'm going to pass the mic to my nephew.
Sorry, give me a minute. Today we celebrate the opening of Prince Joshua Avitto's Community Center in remembrance of my cousin PJ. Praying that this will ensure the future of safety for the kids around Brooklyn. For everybody, like mine just said. I'd like to thank Good Shepherd, Man Up, AT, you're awesome. Worthman, the Barons, as well as all that played a role in the system with this taking place. I'd like to also thank the community for being so caring and compassionate to my family. Words can't describe the things that we've been going through, but community has been great. And once again, thank you.
Thank you. I have one more thing. On behalf of Prince's father and his uncle, I'd like to thank you guys for them, because I know if he was here, he would have a speech for you guys, and he would definitely thank you for honoring his son, Prince Joshua Avitto. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Let's clap it up one more time for the family. Their sacrifices became our blessing. Prince Joshua is now our blessing. And every young person and elder that used this building will be blessed by his spirit. Thank you again. Now we want to have Minister Henry Muhammad of Mosque number 7C come forward and bless these balloons. This June 17th, Prince would have turned 11 years old. Next month on Father's Day. And so, for folks that don't know, he was born on Father's Day. So we're going to release these balloons later on, but I wanted the minister of our community to please bless them, and so that when we have the chance to release them a little later, they will make its way all the way to Prince and Deshaun and so many others that are up there waiting on all of us.
Thank you. Greetings, family. I am Brother Henry Muhammad. I am a student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the head minister of Muhammad Mosque 7C here in East New York, Brooklyn. Also a comrade to our brother A.T. Mitchell, Charles Barron. It's an honor for me to be here with the mayor and his staff, all of our community leaders, the Barons as well. But I see my sister Erica Ford back there of Life Camp, and I cannot go without giving our sister and her group of Life Camp the blessings of, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum, family. As we bless these balloons, there was a lot coming to mind from a spiritual level, because you're thinking about Man Up Inc. and Good Shepherd. And we're thinking about the fact that this is the Prince Joshua Center. And so, oftentimes we go to funerals and we say funerals are for the living. Funerals are not for the dead. In the Holy Quran, it says we bring life out of death and we bring the living from the dead. We are praying that in this establishment right here at this center, that we will raise a Joshua generation. If you know anything about Joshua, Joshua was the one that went ahead of Moses to get the revolution done, because a lot of the elders were scared of the giants that was in the land. So in order for us to be able to raise these balloons and cut these ribbons, we need a man. As it says in the scripture, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. So we are proud of our brother A.T. Mitchell and Man Up, because he's from our image and he's after our likeness. And we need a shepherd, a good shepherd, that can give the guidance that's necessary for us to move along the way we have to move, but with the foundation of a Charles Barron, and the foundation of a sister like our sister Inez Barron, and the foundation of the voices of those of our people in East New York that can't speak right now, but feel the pain of our little brother Joshua that passed away, that was killed. We want to raise up the consciousness of everyone that comes into this center to remove that spirit of death and bring in life by the way of a knowledge of themselves and a knowledge of others and how to live a good life so that our communities can be made more decent and safe. But this is the way it has to be done. As the mayor says, it takes a village to raise a child. So we need everyone incorporated. So as these balloons represent that which is going up, we want to let you know this center here will be like a Noah's Ark, but it's in the name of Joshua, to raise the heights of our youth and everyone that comes this way with a good man and a good shepherd. We thank you. God bless you all, family. Assalamu alaikum. Love you, brother.
Okay, you want to stay there, you can. Thank you, Minister Henry. So at this time, we are going to now officially do the ribbon cutting of this great building and institution. I want to thank Umoja Events. Let's clap it up for Umoja Events. Elite Media. Keep clapping. Our very own resident DJ, New. All of the event organizers, my good friend Dennis from Dave's Restaurant. All of the vendors that contributed to making sure this was exactly how we envisioned it to be. We have a customized pair of scissors that we are going to use to cut this ribbon. I'm going to ask that Mr. and Mrs. Barron and Erica, and they want to come up front with me, and we can, Mayor and Mr. the DA and Sister Paulette, if you welcome them, want to come up front. If in Todd, you want to come up front, we're going to cut this thing real quick. Yes, sir, right here in the middle. I want to get your brother Josh. Let's move this podium, please. Yes, Minister, please, by all means, of course. Come on. We want to probably move the balloons out. Just move that out the way for me, please. Thank you. Yes. So we may want to move the balloons. Can we move the balloons, Brother Peterson, so we can get everybody? Okay? Mayor? Mayor? So, once again, on behalf of Prince Joshua Avitto, let's say, long live, long live. Prince Joshua. Prince Joshua. Long live, long live. Prince Joshua. Prince Joshua. And on the third, we're going to cut the ribbon after I say, long live, long live. Prince Joshua Avitto Community Center. Officially open. Wow. Take a look at that, mother. Yes.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
Thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate it. Now listen, for the tour, we have, if I can get everyone's attention, there you go. So now what we're going to do is tour the center, mayor and council member and assembly member and Erica and Taj. I would like for those of us to please everyone to cooperate during the tour, because there's a lot of us present, so we want to get through to this. After which the tour is over, we have food in the second floor that everybody is welcome, but first allow us to do the tour. So the mayor, of course, I understand it's about the assembly member and the council member and the mother and the family with the mayor and others we want to go to on this tour together. And then we're going to invite the others to go on tour according to your colors. You all received the ribbon, and that ribbon signifies what time of the tour that you should attend. Right now, I'm going to ask if we can all agree to stay calm, and everything is going to conclude if we could just take this small tour. We're going to do it right now. Stacy. So, yes, I'm going to lead the tour. So we're going to be going this way, okay?